Before we need to talk about Garten of Banban, we need to talk about the original cheat code for this Five Nights at Freddy's. You know, back in the day, horror games were really simple. You would walk down a hallway, something goes, ooh, you scream, game over, it's a done deal. But then Five Nights at Freddy's said, all right, what if we just put in a shit ton of lore about the game? And people loved it. Scott Cawthon was trolling, but people still lost sleep over it. It made a mystery machine, essentially. Suddenly, people weren't playing to survive the night. They were playing to decode a timeline that looks like it was written by a schizophrenic Shakespeare. And here's the kicker. FNAF basically was the original sin of all this in proving that mystery is marketing. The more confusing it was, the louder the community screamed and the bigger it got. YouTubers weren't just reacting, they were becoming part of the distribution pipeline. Like free interns powered by fear and caffeine. Matt Pat basically deserves an executive producer credit on half of indie horror at this point. This was the birth of the lore economy, the indie horror cheat code. Lore works because people are suckers for mystery. Give a person one puzzle piece, especially if they're neurodivergent like me, and suddenly they're building a whole conspiracy wall in their bedroom. I never really liked FNAF. Or well, I kind of did, but it doesn't matter. Developers found out a genius trick. Just leave gaps, and then fans will fill in the rest. Every unanswered question becomes 10 theory videos. Every cryptic note becomes 300 Reddit threads. Every background detail becomes, oh, the craziest thing explained. Not clickbait, it is clickbait. And the best part, people stay obsessed long after the game is over. You beat the game in an hour, but the lore lasts years. Indie horror turned story crumbs into infinite engagement. And of course, YouTube power. YouTube is the engine that keeps indie horror alive, fed, and hid in the gym. A single well-timed reaction video, or theory video, Matt Pat mentioned, can give a small dev team the same exposure AAA companies spend millions of dollars chasing. The workflow goes like this. 1. Game drops. 2. Someone screams really loudly on camera. 3. Someone else makes a theory. 4. YouTuber picks up on this game. 5. Everybody buys the merch. Repeat until you make infinite money. And because YouTube's algorithm loves stories, mysteries, and cliffhangers, lore-heavy horror games get pushed harder than anything else. Even if the gameplay is press E to do thing, YouTube doesn't care. If there's lore, it's gonna go viral. And let's be real now. Indie horror is financially cracked. Small teams, small budgets, half the games run on engines older than most of the player base. You don't need giant maps or realistic physics or a million animations. You need 1. VHS filters. 2. A creepy mascot. 3. Environmental storytelling. And 4. And a lore file deep enough to drown in. Gameplay can be 30 minutes long. Doesn't matter. If the lore is good, the returns are stupidly high. It's low investment, high reward with the fandom doing free marketing. Now let's talk about where the real money is. It's merchandising, baby. Indie horror figured out the golden rule. If your monster can be turned into a plush, you have achieved financial aegis of immortality. FNAF plushies, millions. Poppy Playtime's plushies, everywhere. Garten of Banban, children treat those things like emotional support creatures. And here's the best part. They don't even have to play the game. Half the people buying the plushies haven't even played the game. They just know the character from YouTube and TikTok. Merch margins are insanely high. Like, we just paid off the entire dev budget with 100 stuffed animals. High. And of course, Garten of Banban started this trend, or well, I guess it was FNAF, but they really pushed the envelope here. Games end right when the plot gets juicy. It's like Netflix. This builds a perfect sequel pipeline. Drop lore crumbs, let the fandom explore, tease the next chapter, cash out that cash. It lets you constantly introduce new characters. It's a new content cycle. More theories, more reactions, more merch, more everything. Speaking of, this image is outdated. Did you know that when this image was taken, 4 more games have released since this image was taken? It's absurd. It's basically a subscription service disguised as a horror franchise. Now, This game is hated, but it's free marketing. Controversy? Great. Bad graphics? People roast it. Game goes viral. Dev beef? People make videos. Game goes viral. Mascot horror being low effort slop? People hate watch. The game goes viral. Mascot horror is the only genre where being trash but interesting is actually a marketing strategy. Polarizing games still sell because everybody wants to see the next insane plot twist. Garten of Banban quite literally built a career off of this. Of course, this strategy comes with a body count. Quality starts slipping when lore becomes the entire point. Games become shorter, cheaper, and more formulaic. Mascot horror gets so oversaturated that every month there's a new guy with weird teeth and a tragic backstory. Theory fatigue is real, and everybody is tired of unraveling 17-layer metaphors about orphans and corporate cover-ups. The bubble hasn't popped yet, but you can feel it swelling. But make no mistake, lore-first indie horror is not going anywhere. If anything, it's only going to get bigger. More mascots, more multiverses, more shows, books, merch, and movies. Indie horror discovered the perfect formula. Low cost, plus infinite mystery, plus free community labor is stupid profits. And until the money stops flowing, we're going to keep dropping all that good lore for the community to consume. It basically made lore into a business model. All right, see you guys. This is my video. How's my new mic? See you.